Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. This is your no-nonsense guide to the Terminus Easter egg. The first thing you need to do in your game is to activate power by turning on the 3 purple amp generators. And once you've done that, you can raise Pack-a-Punch and you'll have access to Pack for the remainder of your game, which you're definitely going to need. Next, we need to get the Beamsmasher. So I'm going to explain how to build it now via the free Beamsmasher quest, but you can also get it by using Gobblegums or doing other side quests that also give you a chance at getting it. It's just that the one I'm about to explain is guaranteed, and therefore I want to make sure that all you guys are covered, and I'm going to include it now. So the first thing to do is come down near below Quick Revive and activate this little laptop. You're going to need to do this with 2 other laptops as well. There's one just below where Stamina Up is, so just go ahead and activate that now. And the third can be found just by the docks area on a little outcrop here. Hold square, you'll activate that. When Pack-a-Punch is done, you then need to come over to one of these arsenal machines and use it to purchase dead wire using salvage. You need to put that on one of your weapons. Next, you need to come to the Pack-a-Punch incline lift and activate it. You're going to want it to travel from below up to the top level of the map, and as it does so, you're going to be able to see a window just here. On the right-hand side, there is an electric box that you need to shoot with your dead wire weapon, and when you do so, it will start sparking. You'll then be able to shoot several other electrical boxes, which I'm going to show you the locations for now, and each time the spark will move and travel to the next box. The next one is just here, as you can see. The final electrical box is just on the side of the wall here, and that will open up this room. Once you enter the laboratory, kill this little trapped zombie that's just here lying down on the floor, and then pick up the fob, as you can see I'm doing here. You'll get a quote when you do so, and it will be the leftmost item in your quest items when you bring up your scoreboard. Then leave and go to the C tower. In the C tower, you'll find a briefcase on a table, hold square on it, and it will pop open. You'll be able to grab a little multiphasic injector, then bring the multiphasic injector back to the laboratory, and you'll be able to place it into this machine. Next, we're going to run up to Peck, and we're actually going to spend 5,000 points for him to just give us the answer to this puzzle. So pay your points, and then on the left side of the screen, you'll see there are 3 numbers that you need to remember and bring back to the lab. Enter the numbers into these dials here, and once you submit them, the machine is going to say it is targeting, and you simply need to go to the next round, and then the targeting will be complete. The screen will show you a location that you need to travel to, and it will be one of the islands on the map, and then head over to that island. When you get there, you should see a blue ball just hanging out waiting for you. Place the multiphasic injector down on it, and then you need to just survive while a whole load of zombies spawn in. While they're spawning, you'll see one zombie that's glowing blue, the same color as the orb, and you need to try and kill that zombie over the multiphasic injector. If you fail, it's okay. You can just run over to the essence blob thing that it will drop, and you can pick it up and bring it to the glowing ball yourself. But if you kill the zombie near enough to it, it will just automatically activate, so that's the easiest thing to do. Once you've killed one of the glowing zombies over the glowing ball, you'll then have another zombie spawn in with the glow once again, and you just need to do the same thing a couple of times, and once it's done, the glow will move, but the multiphasic injector will remain. So you need to pick up multiphasic injector and take it to the next island that the ball has moved to. You then just repeat this a couple times. So go to the next island, it'll be green ball now, place the multiphasic injector, kill a green glowing zombie over the green ball, do that a couple times, and then the ball will move, and for your third island, rinse and repeat, and once you've killed the last glowing zombie over the glowing ball, you'll then be able to pick up a infused multiphasic injector, which will be red in your quest items when you pull up your scoreboard. Then simply run back to the laboratory and hold square on this machine in order to craft yourself a free Beamsmasher. Once you have the Beamsmasher, come down to this trap in the biolab, and this is the one that I use most reliably to get this done. Activate the trap, and then use the Beamsmasher to kind of stroke the tentacles, I guess. Is that what we're doing? I don't know. But you're going to basically fire it along the box, and you should have a hard drive pop out, which you need to pick up. You need to take this hard drive up to Peck in the spawn, hold square on him, and you'll be able to deposit the hard drive in this little box. Then Peck will do a little bit of hacking for you, and you need to go back downstairs into the biolab and hold square on this cylindrical tube in the middle of the room. Then you'll be able to go around the map and find 3 numbers which we're going to need to enter into that tube. The first number can be found by going near Quick Revive and looking at this clock, and you're going to want to see what the hour hand of the clock says. Now, I know this is crazy, but there are some people in this day and age that don't know how to read an analog clock, so just for the record, that's the shorter hand. For example, you can see this is the clock in my game, and this is my code number number. The second number that you need is inside the mess hall. That's the room with all the dining tables. You'll find a playing card pinned to this cork board, and the number on the playing card is your second number in your sequence. And the third number is just next to this crafting bench, and it'll say days since last accident or whatever, and that's your third number. With those three, run back down to the cylindrical tube in the biolab and enter them in that order that I showed you. Then when that's done, you'll need to turn valves on that cylinder. Now, if you've got 4 people in your game, there'll be 4 valves you need to turn all at once, because it's going to start a lockdown, so it requires your whole team to be there. But if you've got just 3 people, you'll only need 3 people to hold square, etc. So hold square together on all of those valves, and this will start a boss fight sequence. For this, I'd recommend you have a pack-a-punch gun at the bare minimum, and also something above green rarity probably, as you're going to need to do a whole bunch of damage to the boss here. And if you're having trouble, consider buying stuff from the support station here. You can craft yourself some equipment, etc., just to help give you a little bit more DPS. But once you chip that boss down, you'll then be able to move on with the quest. And the first thing to do as soon as you kill him is to jump off the side here and grab this key card off the floor, and then head to the communications room. In there, you'll find a computer with green text on its screen. You need to go and hold square on that computer, and it will take a few seconds. This is a little bit weird, this step, but spend a few seconds holding square on it, and eventually it will light up and you'll get a prompt. Next, hop in a boat and head over to the crashed ship, and underneath that ship, you'll be able to find a little ladder. Climb up the ladder with your team and then grab all of the cylinders that are on this table. However many there are in your game, you just need to have a player take one each. While you're holding a cylinder, you won't be able to sprint, so keep that in mind. First of all, you're going to be in a lockdown inside the boat here, so you'll be trapped inside, you'll have to fight off zombies for about 2 minutes, and then you'll get a max ammo at the end. And then you can leave and take the cylinder to a pipe that has a gap in it. So there are a few locations for this. I'm going to show you 3 of those locations now. Number 1 is on this island. It's the South Island, and as soon as you get there, you'll see it on the left-hand side of the shore. Just hold square if you've got a cylinder on your back, and you'll repair it, and you need to have your teammates fight off the rest of the zombies for you to keep you safe. Then, with that one done, or if that's not one that you need to do in your game, go back to the main island and head towards Speed Cola, and if you enter the Speed Cola tunnel and stick to the right-hand side, you should see another possible location for it. And the third possible location is back out the way you came of Speed Cola, and you need to head down to underneath the sea tower, and it's just down there near the rappel cord. So install any or all of those pipes. You can then go up to where Peck is and grab a hacking device from him by holding square up there. He'll say some audio, it'll take like 30 seconds, and then the hacking device will pop out. Once you have the hacker, you can go to these buoys in the water, or some people call them buoys. And the best way to do this if you're in co-op is to have one player still driving the boat and staying in it, while the player with the hacking device jumps out of the boat into the water and holds square next to the buoy. It'll take a second for a laptop to pop up, and they'll take about 10 seconds to do their hacking. Meanwhile, I recommend the person in the boat drives away a little bit and then circles back and picks up that player that's doing the hacking once they are finished. And this is just going to mean that the tentacle monster that's in the water is going to have a less easy time targeting all of you at once. Once you've hacked your first buoy, you're going to want to go to the second one, and a timer is also going to start here as well. So I would just full send it to that next buoy, do another round of hacking, and then you'll just have one left. And as soon as you've finished that, you'll get a new timer which starts after about 30 to 45 seconds of dialogue. Now, if the dialogue doesn't play for you and you've still got that timer on screen, it means that there is another buoy that you're going to need to go find. So just make sure that if that timer's on screen, you're searching for buoys and hacking all of them. Anyway, assuming you've done all of the buoys, I recommend you head to the biolab, because that's where this next step takes place, and it is timed once again. So if you're in co-op, you're going to want everybody there. You've got 3 bombs you need to defuse, and you basically just have to stand there and hold square against each bomb for about 15 seconds. So while one player is doing that, have the other players in your game defend them, or if you're playing in solo, just make sure to use a monkey bomb or things along those lines. Ether Shroud, for example, works here great as well, and that will mean that you can get each bomb defused. There is a second bomb just here, as you can see, and there is a third bomb just here. And once you've got all 3 of those bombs, you'll then have your timer go away, and the step that you're now on actually is boss fight, which is kind of crazy because you can do a lot of this other stuff at relatively low rounds and with relatively low damage output and stuff on your loadout. But now that you're going into boss, you need to make sure, I really strongly stress this, that you've got at least one gun that's tier 3 pack-a-punched, a bullet weapon ideally, and it's gold rarity. And so obviously, if you need to point farm here, do it. If you need to spend salvage to get max rarity on your weapon at the Arsenal machine, then do it. And I'd also recommend, if you're at the Arsenal machine, that you get an ammo mod on your gun as well. So I really like Deadwire for this fight. I also think that the Shadow energy is decent, but Deadwire is usually my pick. And once you're fully geared up, ready to go, maybe you've got your Gobblegums as well, you can go over to this door, and if your whole team are ready, you'll be able to enter the fight. You'll all have to vote on it in order to enter. Once the fight begins, you'll find that there's a big sea monster that you need to take down, and there are various phases of the fight. So to begin with, you're going to be looking for glowing red bubbles that are on the boss's shoulders, and while you're looking for those bubbles, you're going to need to avoid the boss's slam attacks. And basically the way it works is when the boss pops up on a given side of the arena, which could also be the center of the arena, it will slam directly in front of it. So long as you're in one of the other areas of the arena, when it's slamming, you should be okay. There are also a bunch of tentacles in the background that will be firing goop at you while you do this, and you may get knocked into the water also while you do this, and if you do, you just need to climb a ladder to get back onto ground. Now, your number one priority here is survival. You really don't want to die, lose perks, and then get in like a respawning dying loop. It's just not fun, believe me. So if you need to go slow and only do a little bit of damage here and there to those boss red bubbles while making sure that you stay alive, then that is totally fine, and you can buy ammo in the back of the arena as well. Now, those base mechanics of the fight don't really change until the final phase. The only thing that's different is that in some of the damage phases, you have to shoot the boss's tentacles instead. And I'm not talking about the tentacles in the background, it's his arms, right? Like the ones right attached to the center of his body. They'll have big glowing crit areas that you can shoot, and you need to pop both of those, and then you'll move on with that phase of the fight. There's also a bit actually where you can shoot the boss's mouth as well, and that's the crit area at that stage. Also, if you've got chopper gunners, those can be pretty helpful here as well. But be careful if you use a chopper, because you might get swatted while your player is standing there on the ground using the chopper gunner, and that'll mean that you get knocked out of the chopper. So just be careful of that. Eventually, you're going to get to the final stage of the boss fight, and for this, you're no longer shooting red bubbles and no longer shooting its arms. You're instead shooting the boss's eyeballs, and it's going to lock off the back and sides of the arena. For this, do not get sucked into the boss's mouth. If you trip over its tongue in the middle of the arena, you will get downed. So stay away from that, and instead just focus on sticking around at the back of the arena, firing into those eyeballs and popping them whenever they become available. During this stage, he'll also do a charge attack sometimes, and for this you need to be behind cover, otherwise he'll insta-down you. It's a big electric shock, so be careful. And once you get the boss to 0, you're done! Thanks for watching, I've been MrRoflWaffles. If you like my no-nonsense guides, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.